All right, welcome back. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the spirit chat that we left off with last time. Because when I record those, I don't really have a chance to talk about them until now, after I've gone through them, and then I immediately upload it for you guys. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what happened and what was said, which wasn't a whole lot, but there were still a few good responses in there. More so than I thought there would be, because when I was doing the session, I really didn't think much was coming through, but there's always something. I just can't make them out at the time. There seemed to be a little bit more random responses this time around, but we still had some pretty good responses, and right off the bat we got some. As soon as I turned on the spirit box, I had gotten one that was very clear. First of all, I'd like to, and it was a woman's voice. Unfortunately, I turned the spirit box on before I hit the record button, and so I missed that one. But just moments later, when I went across the room to get a candle, a voice came through saying candle. I'm going to get the candle. To me, this is one of the best ones that we got this session, because it was directly related to what I was doing at the time. I know a lot of the other things that came through the session were seemingly random, and one could argue that candle was pretty random too. However, it would be one hell of a coincidence. I mean, really, what are the odds of that? So that's why this may be the best one of the entire session. Then we got some names, some feminine names with male voices, which was kind of odd. What is your name? I heard something, but I couldn't make it out. I ask again, what is your name? But then again, it's not all that surprising. You never know what's going to come through, and the spirits don't always tell the truth. Such as when I got a direct response to asking if anybody was with me. Is there anybody here with me? And this is why I say you cannot just trust the spirit box. You cannot rely on it for accurate answers. Is there something to the spirit box? Yes. Can you rely on it for accurate answers or guidance? No. And just as you don't know what's going to come through the spirit box, you also don't know when it's going to come through. I was getting ready to move the spirit box to what I thought might be a better location for the signal to come through, to get reception. It is, after all, a small transistor radio with a very short antenna. And just as I was getting ready to move it, a voice came through and just said hi. Upon playing it back, it was very loud and clear. Okay, so I'm going to move the SB7 right now. And then right after, a voice said, like you. I'm sorry, I heard something. Which is a welcome change from the hostile spirits that I was getting previously. Now, there were still a couple comments that weren't all that friendly. What? But my having set the rule of no negative spirits did seem to help out quite a bit. Another of the best ones of the session was when I asked, how are you? And I got the reply, fine. How are you? This particular response was clear and it was audible. I heard the EVP in real time. And it was in direct response to my question. They don't get much better than this. The only way that this one could be better is if it added on to it, such as, fine, and how are you? And have it drawn out a little longer, but I'll take it for what it is. But it was clear, it was audible in real time, without having to come across it during editing, and it was in direct response to a specific question. All of this makes it one of the best of the session. It's right up there with the candle response that we had earlier at the beginning of the session, and may even be a bit better. Right after I said hello, and I did get a hello in response. However, it was not audible at the time. I had to find it during editing, and it was very low. And it was immediately followed by other voices cursing and saying another name, Tommy, which I have no idea who that would be. Hello? So that's another voice in direct response to me, but I had to find it during editing, and it was followed by a bunch of nonsense. So it's not nearly as good as the fine response that we had previously. Now, after a few more random responses here and there and lowering the sweep rate, I once again asked, "What is your name?" and I heard Mark. Again, what is your name? Thought I heard Mark. Once again, this is audible. It's in direct response to my question. However, it's not as good as the other two, in my opinion, because names come through all the time. And sure, it's in direct response to me asking for a name. But because names come through often, it's not quite as impressive. It's still pretty good, though. It's still one of the best of the session, just not the best of the session. So then I go on to ask who's going to win the upcoming election, Trump or Biden. And while I was recording, I thought I maybe have heard like a Trump in there, but it turns out that on playback and editing, it was Biden and Joe, along with a little laugh in there and someone saying throw a party. Trump or Biden? Who do you think is going to win the election? Or do you know who's going to win?
Yes.
Now, again, this really doesn't mean anything because spirits don't always tell the truth. So I wouldn't put any more stake in it than someone just giving you their opinion. I haven't seen any evidence of a spirit box giving accurate information about the future. So take it for what it is. It's a novelty. Shortly after, I got a response saying, "The cat?" However, none of my cats were even in the room at the time, I don't believe. So that reply seems to be random. I then asked what the next big event was going to be and immediately got a reply the 16th. So what's the next big event that's going to happen? Again, there's no evidence to even suggest that the spirit box knows the future. I would love to get some. I am fully expecting that the 16th will just be another day. But who knows? Maybe something big will happen on that day. Only time will tell. And of course, it didn't say what month. We just have to assume that it's the next 16th, which is October 16th, 2020. So we will see. But I wouldn't hold your breath. One of the more surprising EVPs to come through was one that just came out of nowhere saying, "I'm your follower." This is interesting just because of who I am with, using social media, having subscribers and followers, and having a voice come through saying, "I'm your follower," is quite interesting to say the least. Now, I then tried to call forth a specific spirit, an old friend of mine, Scott, who was the drummer in my band, who died all too suddenly back in 2001. And one savvy viewer even saw that one of my songs, Place and Time, was dedicated to Scott. Yes, it's the same person. However, we did not get any EVPs from Scott. However, his name did come through. But there was really nothing else to show that it was Scott coming through. I did get a voice saying he's dead. And another that when played in reverse said counterfeit. As I do check EVPs in reverse when I can't make sense of them being played forward. Now, there were a couple of voices that came through, one saying he has, and then the other saying trouble.
He has.
And then immediately after, another saying not you, like in you're not the trouble. He's having some other problem being able to come and communicate. We also had a feminine voice come through, so it wasn't Scott, saying help me. However, this is a quite common occurrence with the spirit box. Asking for help is just as common as saying names. There was another clear EVP a little bit later that said, what's happening or it's happening. I couldn't tell the first word exactly. I can hear either or when it's speaking that fast. But the second word, happening, was incredibly clear. And then near the end, when I asked, is there anything you want to add? I got a reply, no, and no more, followed by goodbye. Anything you want to add? I'm sorry I didn't have that great of questions for you this time. All in all, it was a better session than I thought it would be when I first recorded it. I really didn't think I had captured much of anything, but it turns out that I really did get several good responses. I was not able to make contact with Scott, but it was the middle of the day and he never really was much of a day person. I would have liked to make contact with him, but maybe next time. Of course, if you heard anything that I did not catch, please let me know in the comments. I'm fairly decent at picking up what's being said in EVPs, but I'm not 100%. I do miss some on occasion. So if you hear something that I missed or even hear something completely different, let me know. I want to thank you all for joining me. Leave a like and share this video if you did. Check out the Teespring store. All the clearance stuff has been cleared. We have a couple new masks. And don't forget to get your free copy of my program, Finding Your Path and Purpose. Get it while you can. It won't stay free forever. And that will do it for today. Join me at all the usual places, Facebook, Twitter, and I'll see you next time. Take care.